Harry Glass, who's one of the people behind Atonal, suggested collaborating with her and sent me a link to some of her work, which along with a couple of other people, and it was really incredibly intriguing. So I wanted to work with her, and she sent a proposal. The proposal was so good that I would have been happy if that was just projected on the screen and nothing else. It was such an excellent proposal, so I knew it was going to work out. And then when I started seeing some of the static images, I was very thrilled with it. So I think it's going to be really special. Yes, it's all new material. Some of it I've been playing around with live, for a few months, but it's all nothing's from the last LP. I wanted to do something unique for the festival. It's exciting. I'm kind of enjoying what I'm doing. I went through a period of I needed to take a break, and I was still creating music, but I wasn't really ready to perform it or really let anyone hear. It was just working. I went through a period of reappraisal, and especially after John Valence's death affected me very deeply, and it really stopped me from wanting to make music for a while. So that took a little bit for that to clear that from my mind, and make music with start making music again. But yeah, I mean, definitely you're going to hear a lot more from me. Yeah, I've been there for 17 years. I needed a break from London. Wasn't hugely set on New York, and I just wanted to see what it was like. And I went with my then wife, who was from the US. She was from New Orleans, and the marriage didn't last, but New York lasted. I didn't like it at first. First couple of years, maybe year and a half, I didn't think I was gonna. I liked it, but I didn't think I was gonna really be able to stay there. It wasn't like I didn't like it. It just didn't seem like it was a good fit. And then I started really loving it. And now New York's home. I really feel at home there. It's not that I don't entertain the thought of living somewhere else, but it's an incredibly inspiring place to live and work. There's been a couple of different connections over the years, but one of the impetuses for starting to play live again, it was Nathan Curley, who has a project called Long Distance Poison. He was urging me, this is playing live as a solo artist. He was urging me to do some solo modular sets, and I really didn't want to do it. I didn't want to play live, but he wouldn't take no for an answer and just kept pestering me, and we did it. We did a live show, and I really enjoyed it. And subsequently through that, met a bunch of other people that are doing similar things. But Ryan actually Ryan was at that first show, and then he also he was at the second live modular. He played at the second show that I played at a couple of months later. And we connected very, immediately, and stayed friends. And obviously, he released Collapse, and is going to be releasing the next record. Yeah, that's part of it. I mean, it doesn't. I don't think that. I really respect Genesis, and I love where she's, at in her life. But that wasn't necessarily. It was more the spectrum of what Deist, what they put out. I thought that what I did would be a good fit in the overall scheme of things. The fact that Ryan is Genesis, Jen's manager and all of that, definitely, it definitely doesn't hurt. And, I absolutely adore Jen. It's good to see. I love what she's. It's great to see that things are really happening for her at the moment. Yeah, I mean, definitely. You know, it's one of those things when I was part of Coil, people didn't know who we were. I mean, it was a handful of people internationally, but for the most part, you know, it was you know, we did what we did regardless of how many people knew who we were. So it's actually kind of shocking and but really gratifying to meet people who tell you about some of their formative experiences listening to Coil, and you know, people that were maybe just kids when we were, you know, literal like kids, babies when we were making this music, and then subsequently they heard it, you know, a little bit later, and it changed their life. It's like that's really that's part of what it's about. Music and art should change people's lives. I mean, it really should. It, you know, certainly did for me. Yeah, I mean, definitely there's a correlation. I mean, I don't know if there's a cause, you know, literally a cause and effect, but you know, they're both. I think a lot of the people that like Coil are definitely fascinated by the same processes. Though it has to be said that a lot of what we did in Coil wasn't analog. You know, there was a lot of really primitive digital processing and software manipulation, not commercial products, but just things that Sleazy had somehow come across that we would then use to manipulate the sounds that we were doing. That, you know, manipulate the you know, some of the analog treatments and processes would then subsequently get manipulated by Sleazy's weird arcane software discoveries. Things that didn't even have a proper graphic interface, you know, they were just really basic and elemental. I can't really say that there was any one thing in particular that did it. I seemed to come out of some kind of like some self-imposed bubble, you know, where I wasn't going out much. I was a little reclusive, and I can't really honestly say what it was. What was happening in New York at the time, and is continually happening, and not just in New York, but like globally, worldwide, I think is also super inspiring. So that's a good point. I think that would probably have helped the process as far as relighting that flame. Oh, I mean, like this, I almost don't want to say, because, you know, I don't want to leave anyone off, because it's such a, you know, it's, if I'm supportive of the community there, I get it back 100-fold. You know, it's such a super supportive community. You know, you have people like Margaret Chardier, Pharmacon, you know, what she's doing is incredible. Alex Suarez, Cienfuegos, Renee Nunez. You've got Nikki Mao, who I collaborate with, has HeroCon. Nick Klein, Sierra Black. I mean, it's insane. There's so many people, and I'm going to like leave off, you know, a dozen people that I shouldn't leave off, because they're all doing incredibly stellar work. But you kind of put me on the spot a little bit with that. You're making me name names. I really love Psychic Ills, and I saw them first play in 2003, and a mutual friend introduced me to Trace and Elizabeth, and you know, we became really good friends. And Trace and I thought it would be great to collaborate on something, and it was a very, very slow process. We worked together over years before the first record was released, the first spring press, Origin of Silence. I think that was released in 2012, but we probably started recording it in 2007. So it was a long, slow process. But there was something about that process unfolding over years that was there was a really interesting way of working. It was very much not of nothing we were doing was of the moment. It was just very much its own thing and its own, bubble. So that was a really powerful process. Very much so. All the time. I'm super introverted and I spend a lot of time in my own head. I don't think I can't not reflect it. A lot of my introversion and daydreaming and insularity or introspection is the breeding ground for what I end up doing. The daydreams are not literally specifically about creating music, though sometimes they can be, but a lot of those processes end up being, a lot of those internal processes end up being concretized in the music. I think it really does, but also I find that almost everyone that I know that makes music is artists are very similar. We all have like social anxiety. We all are introverts. Most of us are. Some of us are good at faking it and not seeming introverted. But I think we're all a bunch of freaks and weirdos. Yeah, tonight's going to be mostly new material. None of it's going to be from the LP. Some of it I have been mutating along the way for the last few months. That's part of my process. I'll play around with things live, feel them out, see how it works, and then eventually record it. So they're, but for the most part, it's a unique set. Yeah, very much so. I mean, I'm looking forward to. There's a whole bunch of things I'm looking forward to. Can't wait to see Creation of More tomorrow. That's going to be really special. I caught a little bit of Roly Porter last night. I was rehearsing, so I didn't see it all, and that was really beautiful. Rame's set was fantastic. Prostitutes was really good too, and that's what I love about Deus, and why I really like it as a label, and why it feels like home for me, because they only put out something if they really care about it, and it's such a broad spectrum of they have such a broad spectrum of artists, but there's some kind of like cohesion, something that somehow makes it all make sense, because what I do, for example, what Youth Code do, and Them Or Us too, just to pull three people out of the hat. It's like we're all so different. Nothing ostensibly links us, but somehow it makes sense. It makes sense that we're part of this label, and when you listen to it, and even if we don't sound the same, there's a common ground. There's a common artistic thread that links us. But it's a very inspiring label to be part of, and and Ryan and Gibby are just incredible guys to work with. And that's the other thing about Deus. We always call it the Deus family, and it really does feel like a family. Everyone's like every single person on the label is just beyond rad. I don't think I've met one Deus artist yet that I haven't liked as people. I mean, and that's insane. That's really unusual. For me, I would always recommend Time Machines. I think Time Machines is. I'm very proud of everything that I did in Coil. There's nothing that I don't still fully stand by. But Time Machines for me was the one that is the most fully realized integration of our vision, and something that I'd always been striving for, even before I was part of Coil. and it's something that's subsequently still part of my work. I think Time Machines, and Time Machines is one of those LPs that when I mentioned earlier meeting people who are inspired by Coil, it's almost always Time Machines. So that's definitely the one that I would say, listen, if you needed to check something out, check out that. And then maybe the Blacklight District album. Yeah, Music to Play in the Dark is very special as well, and I know that's very dear to a lot of people's heart. Probably around spring to early summer, just depending on how the work goes over the next couple of months. But I think roughly that's when when we'd expect to see it. I definitely I don't want it to be too late in the year, so that's what I'm shooting for. Yeah, definitely going to be playing a lot more shows in 2017. Played a few this year, but when the LP is released, I'll probably tour much more extensively than I did for the last one. I did like maybe 10 shows in Europe, Paris, London, Copenhagen, Amsterdam, Antwerp, Helsinki. They played in the Czech Republic, and a few shows around, a few gigs around in the US. But I didn't expect LP to do so well. I mean, I was happy with it. I was really happy with what I did, but it definitely surprised me that it resonated so deeply with people. So I didn't really. It was one of those things I didn't even think to like put a tour together when it came out, and then I think it sold out within 3 days or something. So it's like, wow, I should have toured.